What's up? It's the Monster Man here again, back with another video, and this might be a short one, but today I just wanted to talk about yellow lanterns and how I legit think they are better and more effective at being the police of the galaxy than green lanterns are, and that maybe the Owens were wrong. As you may or may not know, the Owens, or the Guardians of Oa, or the Guardians of the Universe, created the Green Lantern Corps to basically be the police force of the universe, and the Guardians of Oa have access to all forms of the emotional spectrum, and they simply chose the green willpower spectrum because they believed it was the most stable of all the emotional spectrum abilities, and I agree with that. I think that's true. It probably is the most stable, most consistent, but is it the best ability for the job? Now, that is the thing I question after I read Green Lantern 2021 Volume 2, Horatius. In this collection, you find out that Jessica Cruz, a lot of things happen in this. This is a 300-page collection. But you also find out that Jessica Cruz has become a Yellow Lantern, and I believe that is still the status quo of her, is that she is a Yellow Lantern. And this is a pretty logical progression, given that a lot of her character is her anxiety and overcoming her fear on a constant basis. It actually makes sense that she could tap into the fear spectrum, given her disposition to experiencing fear quite often. And she has full control of her fear and anxiety now, so this isn't like a regression in her character, more of an evolution, as she can freely switch between her Green Lantern power and the Yellow Lantern ring, and she actually had the option of returning back to being a Green Lantern and chose to stick with the fear ring. And I think there's actually a lot of logical reasons for that I find quite interesting. It really makes me question the Guardians of the Universe if they fully thought through making a Green Lantern Corps rather than a Yellow Lantern Corps, if their goal is to protect the universe. Now, why do I say all that? Aren't they the same? Don't Yellow Lanterns have the exact same abilities as Green Lanterns? And you would be wrong about that. And honestly, I used to think they were a lot more similar than they actually are. So I knew that Yellow Lanterns could tap into a person's fears and manifest them, but I didn't realize they have a lot more psychic leaning abilities that kind of spin off from that. One thing, and probably the most important thing that I think makes them a better police force than the Green Lantern, is their ability to sense fear across an entire solar system. And each individual Yellow Lantern can do this because of their inherent ability to know fear. Green Lanterns have to patrol the galaxy, which is why there are multiple Green Lanterns stationed in each sector. And they depend on either seeing crimes take place or getting actual physical signals like distress signals to them in order to find where they should intervene. Yellow Lanterns, however, can quite literally just detect where anybody is experiencing fear and respond to that with their faster than light travel that Green Lanterns also have, but they don't have the ability to instantly detect where they are needed, like a Yellow Lantern is. Unlike Green Lanterns, they can also use their fear manipulation abilities as a psychic influence to get people to do what they want. Now, of course, you have to think about the moral implications of forcing somebody to feel fear in order to get them to act a certain way. But when you look at the moral grand scale of if you're getting them to do a certain thing in order to save their lives and possibly more, then morally, it probably is the right thing to do to give them a little jolt of fear to get them moving. And this is like something the Green Lanterns simply don't have an option for. As far as we know, Green Lanterns can't link to other people's minds in this way and make them act on it. A Green Lantern would probably have to literally use their lantern power rings to force somebody back into the structure, which just seems inefficient at a larger scale. Like sometimes lanterns are trying to clear out or protect large cities. If you could simply connect to people's minds and get them to move themselves into buildings, it's probably more effective than individually trying to move all of them into a building yourself. And both methods are invasive in different ways. Like if you want to make that argument that this is just like a morally wrong implication, because they aren't necessarily reading the mind, they're just manipulating it, which I think makes it even a better argument that this is kind of a heroic way to use the ability. So with a Green Lantern, forcing somebody back into a building with their ring is again, physically touching them with your power. It's just as invasive in my opinion. So it's a good skill to have. And These mental skills are on top of their construct making abilities. They still have the full range of abilities to make constructs of any structure they can imagine, and they also have the inherent sense to know what their opponent fears, which would be devastating against villains if you could literally construct what a villain fears. Like, what does Darkseid fear? I don't think any of us know, but a Yellow Lantern would inherently know and be able to make a construct of that thing that he fears. And that can make them like doubly effective against most villains compared to a Green Lantern, ending fights twice as fast. Oh, and one more thing. Another abilities Yellow Lanterns have is direct mental attacks on the mind. See, Jessica Cruz used this ability on Teen Lantern, whose super constructs were running wild, and she basically cycles through all of Teen Lantern's fears to put her in a sleep state to stop her rampage, and that single-handedly saved the planet because she was completely out of control. And the idea that a Yellow Lantern can basically attack your mindscape and put you to sleep has some pretty crazily good implications against like strong opponents. Like, even if opponents feel stronger than you, if you can wreck their mind with fear and put them to sleep, I think that just makes you better than a Green Lantern, straight up. Again, the Green Lanterns, although most of them were depowered, could not stop her, and they even acknowledged that her constructs were stronger than even a normal Green Lantern could output. So I doubt they do well even if there were more lanterns to respond to this effect. And it would definitely take more than one to respond to this. And yeah, Jessica Cruz handled it by herself, and that's something we should take note of. I was also originally of the belief, probably like many others were, that Yellow Lanterns are inherently evil, and that just isn't actually true. We all know Jessica Cruz is not evil, and she can become a Yellow Lantern. And even someone like Sinestro, as evil as you may think he is, most of the time he is motivated by protecting his people, his planet, or just his core itself and the members of his core. And that's why people follow him, because he's actually kind of a altruistic, maybe too strong a term, but he's a protector deep down. And that's also why he can get away with a lot of what he does. He even allowed his Yellow Lantern Corps to replace the Green Lantern Corps, and as far as we can tell from the source material, this was working out, and we didn't hear a lot of complaints, to be honest, from a lot of the other nations. That tells me that the Yellow Lanterns were pretty effective in what they were doing, and well suited for the job of being Guardians. Now, I've thought about this, and I was thinking, you know, the Yellow Lanterns consistently lose against the Green Lanterns, so how could they, even with all these bonuses, be better than the Green Lanterns at the job of being Guardians? And well, let's do this thought experiment for a little bit. Green Lanterns are beings of willpower. They are exceptionally brave and exceptionally good at overcoming their own fears, otherwise they wouldn't be even given their lantern rings in the first place. To me, that tells me that Yellow Lanterns are like naturally at a disadvantage against Green Lanterns, even though a lot of the times comics have tried to present it the other way, that Yellow Lanterns are actually naturally advantageous against Green Lanterns because they can break wills. But I think that's kind of a misconception. I think they're both weak to each other in the sense that like light is super effective against dark, but dark is also super effective against light in like RPG terms. Like, yeah, Yellow Lanterns can break a Green Lantern and cause them to lose their will, but Green Lanterns can effectively overcome their own shortcomings and make a Yellow Lantern weak to them. So if you simply reverse the roles and Owens actually created a Yellow Lantern Corps full of good Yellow Lanterns, and they kind of changed the criteria of who could get a fear ring, because unfortunately fear rings are one of the easiest rings to gain power over, and this is proven when Sinestro basically offers like anybody who submits to him a fear ring, or I believe it was one of Sinestro's subordinates, but anyway, there was a scenario where pretty much anybody who wanted one got one. So if they tightened up the criteria, I think the Yellow Lanterns would be literally just as effective as the Green Lanterns, and the question would only be a slightly moral one, but I think the good pros outweigh the cons. Like, if you have faster than light speed travel and you can respond immediately to distress signals, that just makes you a better cop, to be honest. And we also know Green Lanterns have a lot of arbitrary rules like no killing that don't have to be in place and have been turned off at key moments. Those same rules could be applied to Yellow Lanterns in the same circumstances, forcing them to function pretty much like Green Lanterns where they just can't break those rules outright. We also know that many Green Lanterns have fallen, so even though Green Lanterns like to have the perception that they're all heroes, I mean, like literally Sinestro was a Green Lantern before and defected, along with several other Lanterns have also defected over time. So I don't even think Green Lanterns can hold the moral high ground over Yellow Lanterns in this thought experiment. Like, if you recruit good people, they would do good, and if you recruit the wrong wrong people, they'll do wrong. I think the Green Lanterns proved that. I just found this to be like an interesting little thought experiment. And I thought this was a good comic that kind of sheds light on the differences between Green Lanterns and Yellow Lanterns. And I kind of hope in the future we get to see more Yellow Lanterns using their power for good, because I think the concept is too interesting to just leave on the table. Using fear to influence people to save themselves is a great idea, and I want to see more of it going forward. And if you like this little thought experiment video, leave me a like and subscribe, and leave me a comment down below if you agree or disagree that this could be a concept you want to see more of, Yellow Lanterns using their power for good. And I'll leave it there for today. If you want to see more videos like this, leave me a suggestion down below. Thank you.